Heyo, what up? Good morning, everybody. Happy Thursday. DK Show coming to you from the TDS Sports Talk studios this morning. A big thanks for making us a part of your start, whether it's on those radio dials, 105.1 FM, 790 AM. Also available to stream online at sportstalk1051.com. You've got your Alexa devices. Just say, yo, Alexa, play WAYY. Video streams also up and rolling. YouTube, Instagram, Twitch, and Facebook. Obviously, you can stream us up online too at sportstalk1051.com in the app. Did I say that already? I can't remember if I say that. It's Thursday. We're almost here to the weekend. What do we got on our game plan for us here this morning? Brew Crew picking up a win last night, 6-3 against the Philadelphia Phillies, thanks to the Brewers. Putting up 5 runs in the first inning, and I'll admit, no, we were coming back from practice last night, listening to the radio. Hudson and I were looking at or listening to the lineup, and we're like, ooh, Yelly scratched due to some back tightness. It's like, I don't know. But hey, credit to where credit's due. Brewers putting up that 5 spot in the first inning, and that was enough. They didn't get much after that, just 1 run in the fourth, but they were able to hold on to get that 6-3 victory. Jose Quintana picking up his 11th win. He went 6 1/3 instead of that. Besides that one hiccup in the 7th inning, giving her up the 2-run shot. That was about it for a down part for him. So 6 1/3, 7 hits, 3 earned runs, 6 Ks for Jose Quintana. So Brewers now in a position to get a series win against the Phillies later this afternoon. And thank you to the Braves for taking down the Cubs yesterday. But the 86th win for the Brewers this season. Had Terrain collecting a couple of hits. Had Isaac Collins with that home run and 3 RBIs for him. So Brewers with those 5 runs in the first, just 6 total hits for the entire game. So it was a good thing they were able to put up a crooked number in that first inning and give Jose Quintana some an early lead there too. So Freddie Peralta is going to be on the mound today for the Brewers. It should be a really good pitching matchup because you got Freddie Peralta going for the Brewers, looking for his 17th win to improve to 17-5 on the season. You got Suarez, though, going for the Phillies. So it should be a pretty darn good pitching matchup between Ranger Suarez and Freddie Peralta here. So we'll take a look at those two. Suarez coming off of no decision against the Braves, where he went 5 innings, 10 hits, but just 1 earned run. But before that, his 2 previous starts, 11 strikeouts and 10 strikeouts too. So, but Freddie Peralta is also coming off of a win going up against the Toronto Blue Jays, where he went 6 innings and 8 strikeouts. So can Freddie get to 17 wins to improve to 17-5 on this awesome year so far for Freddie Peralta? We mentioned that Christian Yelich was scratched from the lineup because initially it was going to be an off day for Jackson Cheerio. But Cheerio getting slated in to the DH spot because Yelich was scratched due to low back soreness. So I guess this, when you factor in Yelich having offseason back surgery, this is the first time he's had a little bit of a back issue here. But obviously, you don't want it to be something that's lingering here as we get closer and closer to the postseason and such. We'll see how long potentially he'll be out, if he'll be in the lineup today or maybe out of the lineup today. But that remains to be seen. But yesterday too, Shelby Miller, one of the Brewers' acquisitions before the trade deadline, he's done for the season. Could be facing a second Tommy John surgery. It's just a decision for him whether he wants to do that, because let's be real, he's probably going to have to miss all of next season And with his age and that, it's something that he's trying to figure out. And Shelby Miller, not that long ago, just a week or so ago, went through or didn't go through, but picked up that 10-year service. And that's a huge milestone for any Major League Baseball player. So but it's an unfortunate ordeal for Shelby Miller and for the Brewers here too. But we'll see how that kind of plays out here for Shelby Miller, as he hasn't made a decision yet on what he wants to do, whether he wants to have surgery and essentially miss another season, and factoring in his age and such. So we'll talk some more Brewers, looking back at last night's win and previewing this afternoon's game before the Brewers hit the road to take on the Pirates starting tomorrow. Packers returning to practice yesterday. Kind of a normal practice week, game week here as we get sets for their matchup going up against the Detroit Lions. But we had yesterday Elton Jenkins returning in a limited fashion. 2 Packer players did not participate. That would be Nate Hobbs and Jaden Reed. Nate Hobbs, again, according to reporters who were there, looked like he was ramping up his rehab again. I would think that today's probably a pretty big day to determine whether he's going to play or not. And even that, it might be a little bit iffy. But at least it sounds like maybe for Jaden Reed, it was kind of a planned off day for him as they try to manage that foot injury and such. But this was according to Ryan Wood, who covers the Packers, said Jaden Reed had told him last week, or told him that this was kind of planned and such. But he also said Jaden Reed's the only player on the Packers roster not practicing today. Reed had participated in the last few practices after returning from a foot injury that had him in a walking boot, but staying on the sideline today. Reed told me last week his availability for week 1 was uncertain. So be nice to have him out there, but this is something with that foot injury that they're going to have to deal with here a little bit throughout this season. It's unfortunate, but dang, that's where I think it puts a little bit more pressure on Matthew Golden, a little bit more on his shoulders and such. Dontavian Wicks, Romeo Dobbs, everybody else has got to stand up. Tight ends, Tucker Kraft, Luke Musgrave, and all that. But the NFL season officially kicks off tonight, with the Dallas Cowboys taking on the defending champion Philadelphia Eagles. So the NFL season is upon us. If you haven't made your picks yet for our Pro Football Weekly Pick'em Challenge, you better do so. Get to our website, sportstalk1051.com, and get your picks in. Plus, we've got the Survivor Pick'em in there too. So if you want to make your picks today for your Super Bowl predictions, since the season officially starts today, you could do that by texting us on that Shoe Doctors bullpen line. All right, 715-830-1912. 715-830-1912. So give me your Super Bowl predictions. And I did put it up as a poll question late last night. But if you want to chime in on this, who wins the NFC North this year? Who wins the NFC North this season? So far, 64% of you say the Packers, 24% of you say the Lions, 11% of you say the Vikings, 1% say the Bears. If you haven't chimed in, you can, again, hit me up with those texts, or you can also comment on the video stream. We'll catch up with Jake Boakes in a couple hours as we inch closer and closer to the opening of bow season, but some hunting seasons already opening up. So please, if you have any questions for Jake, whether it is hunting, maybe it's still some fishing stuff, text it to us so we can get those to Jake. He'll be joining us in a couple of hours from now. So, all right, let's pitter patter. Let's get at her, shall we? Coming up on the leadoff, let's talk a little Brew Crew as we start to continue to wrap up this regular season. The Brewers now in a position to win another series against the Philadelphia Phillies, and they've got their ace on the mound going this afternoon. But they're also going up against a really good pitcher in Ranger Suarez. So, but no doubt about it, if the Brewers could pick up a win today and pick up another series win for the Phillies, just add it to, I think, another notch on the belt of the impressiveness of this Brewers season so far. But let's break it all down, shall we? Let's take our first break and we'll get things rolling here this morning. But I want you to join the conversation as well. Text me, comment on the video streams, all that good stuff. Quick break. We'll be back after these few words. When it comes to fresh quality meats, the first stop is always at Mike's Star Market in Eau Claire. Whether it's their brats, snack sticks, steaks, you can taste the difference in every single bite. And with tailgate season upon us, it's been going on all summer, but now you got to add in football and such, right? Well, here you go. Go get yourself some tasty brats from Mike's Star Market. So many different flavors for you to try out. Great cuts, great service, and hometown pride. That's Mike's Star Market in Eau Claire. Hey, should also note too, tonight is kickoff for the Blue Gold football season. Reminder, it's a Thursday night's football game for the Blue Gold football team taking on Carroll University at Carson Park. So if maybe you live around the area and you're like, what is that noise coming from Carson Park on a Thursday night? Hear the band's playing and such. It's Blue Gold football. They officially kick off their season tonight at Carson Park again, taking on Carroll College. Maybe you want to tailgate for that too. So head on over to Mike's Star Market to get your brats or whatever you want to tailgate here. Let's get things rolling here this morning on the leadoff, talking Milwaukee Brewers. The Brewers picking up a 6-3 win last night against the Phillies, jumping all over Aaron Nola, putting up those 5 runs in the first inning for the Crew. And luckily they were able to put up 5 runs in the first because they weren't able to do a whole lot after that besides just sprinkling in a run later on in the game. But just 5 total hits for the Brewers last night, or excuse me, 6 total hits for the Brewers last night, and those 5 runs, just allowing 3 total from the Phillies to pick up that win. Jose Quintana was sharp, except for the 1 home run he did give up in the 7th, but overall, striking out 6, even in the 1 inning earlier on, 3 straight ground balls, little tappers to him, making all those outs. Definitely a nice bounce back W for Jose Quintana from his previous start, picking up his 11th win to improve to 11-5 overall this season, a 3.72 ERA for Jose Quintana. I think, for the most part, Jose Quintana, he's done everything that I think Brewers fans or the Brewers expected, probably even a little bit more. If you would have said to me as we are in the beginning of September and Jose Quintana was 11-5 on the season, I'd take that in a heartbeat. I'd be like, heck yeah, well worth it. It's definitely played out better than I thought. So tip of the cap to the performance from Jose Quintana last night. Terang continues. Terang being named August Player of the Month. And what does he do? He collects a couple of hits last night. Actually, the Brewers swept it for Player of the Month awards. Freddie Peralta being named Pitcher of the Month in the National League. So Terang and Freddie Peralta being named National League Players of the Month. So after last night's game, or before last night's game, Terang being named that National League Player of the Month. And now we get to see the National League Pitcher of the Month coming up later on this afternoon. So we've got the pitching matchup for tonight or this afternoon, Ranger Suarez. It's going to be a tough one going up against him. The Brewers have gone up against him a little bit earlier in the season when they faced them earlier on June 1st. Suarez was solid. He went 6 innings, just 7 hits and 1 earned run in that no decision. But Brewers ended up winning that game, if we remember our history back in the early days of the summer. So for Freddie Peralta, though, this will be the first time going up against the Phillies this season. Before we kind of break down that game, just a couple of quick notes. Pat Murphy did say after the game last night that the plan is to rest Christian Yelich. Christian Yelich was originally in the starting lineup as the DH, but was scratched due to some lower back tightness. So the plan is to rest Christian Yelich again today and aim for a return in Pittsburgh. So at least it doesn't sound like it's going to be a long extended timeout for Christian Yelich. And Pat Murphy said it was when Christian Yelich first kind of felt something, it was against the Diamondbacks. And if you remember, it was that hustle double that Christian Yelich had. And Pat Murphy said, quote, he wanted to keep playing because he loves the guys and wants to represent every day and post every day so they get in the habit of posting every day. So, and if you look at it too, with the win from last night, the Brewers actually hold tiebreakers against all the other current division leaders. The only team they don't hold the tiebreaker against is the Cubs. That's the only team they do not hold a tiebreaker against. So they hold the tiebreaker against the Phillies because they swept the earlier series. They hold the tiebreaker against the Dodgers because of what they've done. They hold the tiebreaker against the Blue Jays. They hold the tiebreaker against the Tigers and the Astros. So the only tiebreaker that the Brewers do not currently hold is against the Chicago Cubs. So looking at today's game, this afternoon's game, again, 3:10 is the first pitch. A little bit of a later afternoon game here. It's going to be one heck of a pitching matchup. We've got Freddie Peralta taking on Ranger Suarez. Freddie Peralta looking to improve on his awesome season so far. He is sitting there at 16-5, looking for his 17th win on the season. As we mentioned, Freddie Peralta being named National League Pitcher of the Month in the month of August. And you look at these numbers, and there was no argument. I mean, he finished off the month 5 games going 4-0 with a .32 ERA. That's how dominant Freddie Peralta was in the month of August. Yeah, we all would like to see Freddie Peralta pitch a little bit deeper into games. Usually, if you could get 6 innings out of him, you're probably taking that and you're running away with it. But looking at those numbers, that's kind of hard to top, and that's why he's getting a little bit more attention for some possible National League Cy Young votes. It's probably still going to be Paul Skeens by a wide margin here, but you look at the pitcher who's got the most wins right now in Major League Baseball, and that's Freddie Peralta. And I still think it's kind of maybe flying a little bit under the radar, but so far this year, 16-5 with a 2.58 ERA in his 28 games played. So can he get to that 17 win mark? Well, the Brewers lineup, they're going to have a tough test too, going up against Ranger Suarez, where so far this year he is 10-6 with a 3.02 ERA. And as we mentioned in the opener there, he's coming off of a game against the Braves back on the 29th, where he went 5 innings, 10 hits, but just 1 earned run in a no decision. But the 2 games prior to that, he went 6 2/3 and had 10 strikeouts and a win. And that was against Seattle back on the 18th, and back on the 24th against Washington, he had 11 strikeouts in 7 innings, 3 hits, no earned runs. So Suarez is coming off of a month of August where he was 2-2 with a 4.10 ERA. And you can kind of make the case, too, that Suarez, since the All-Star break, kind of, I don't know if I want to say struggling here too much, but maybe not pitching to that All-Star level that a lot of people thought he should have made the All-Star game. Because, I mean, when you break it down, May, he was 4-0, 2.97 ERA. June, he was 3-2 with a 1.30 ERA. But July, ever since the All-Star break, July, maybe a little bit before the All-Star break too, but July, 1-2 with a 4.57 ERA. And then he finished off the month of August with a 2-2 record and a 4.10 ERA. So it's going to be a tough one going up against the left-hander Ranger Suarez. But who knows with this team? It was kind of like, again, we were coming back from ball practice last night. Hudson and I were listening to it on the radio, and we heard that lineup. It's like, ooh, it's going to be a tough one tonight with that lineup. And lo and behold, the Brewers put up those 5 runs in the first inning, and that was enough too. So, but again, Bryce Turang, I know we've talked quite a bit about Bryce Turang throughout this week, but the guy continues to just rake and impress for what he is doing so far. Last night, collecting a couple hits after being named National League Player of the Month. And you look at what he has done. So these were the numbers that Bryce Turang had in the month of August. This is what he finished with. Bryce Turang finished with a .343 batting average, a 398 on base percentage, and he finished with a 694 slugging percentage. Those were the numbers he put. And home run numbers, 10 home runs in the month of August. Put this in comparison to what he kind of did in July. You want to talk about a bounce back month for Bryce Terang? He had a 209 batting average just in the month of July. He slugged at just 302 and had an on base percentage of a 258. June, he was really good too. I mean, it's kind of interesting when you look at Bryce Terang numbers. It's gone back and forth, back and forth. April, 324 batting average. May, 207 batting average. June, 333 batting average. July, 209 batting average. August, 343 batting average. Hopefully that doesn't mean September is going to be on the low end of the 200s again. But, if it is, I guess the path or the formula or whatever you want to call it would tell us that October he's going to be probably hitting over 300. But the season that Terang is having so far, that price tag is probably going to be going up quite a bit. To answer your question, Joe, on the Shoe Doctors bullpen line this morning, how long is Bryce Terang under contract here for the Crew? Well, he's got arbitration, so I mean the Brewers do control him here for the next few years, but you can guarantee with the arbitration numbers that Bryce Terang is probably going to be making quite a bit more money than his $748,000 salary here. We'll see how arbitration goes. I mean, it's just going to be 2026 is arbitration 1, then it's 2, then it's 3, then it's 4 in 2029. But maybe, just maybe, the Brewers can sign him to a long-term extension and maybe kind of get him a little bit cheaper here too. So, but again, with the win last night, the Brewers are up 6 games on the Cubs now, 22 games left to go. Still, though, the one team that the Brewers do not have a tiebreaker against in the division is the Chicago Cubs. So even though they are up 6, it's essentially kind of a 5-game lead at this point. So Chris on our texting line also says too, the season that Bryce Terang has been having has been absolutely remarkable. I think he is one of those guys that is completely still flying under the radar. Good to see him get some recognition for National League Player of the Month. Hopefully the rest of the national media can pay attention to what Bryce Terang has been doing so far this year. Ben says on our texting line, it's a good thing that the Brewers put up that crooked number in the 5th inning because it was pretty quiet afterwards. But I agree with you. When I heard that first lineup before the game started, I wasn't expecting a whole lot. But it seems like more times than not, when we have that expectation with those lineups, that's when teams kind of come out and set the tone early. Yeah, I honestly, bet I kind of thought the same thing too. After I was listening and then, seeing what they did in the first inning, it was like, dang, that's how many times has that happened before? Seems like it's happened quite a bit, right? Dave on our texting line, on our Shoe Doctors bullpen line, with the text here too, saying that Terang has been awesome this year. It has been so cool to see how he has gotten better every single season from his rookie year to where he's at now. You can say the same about Sal Frelick. The difference, obviously, is Terang has shown a lot more power in this last month. But to see the progression from these two players, from these two hitters, has been pretty awesome to witness over the last few seasons. Yeah, we've hit on that before, Dave, and it's a good point again, though, too. You look at how Terang began his rookie year, where he was really struggling from the plate, really struggling offensively. So much so he got sent back down. First year of Pat Murphy, he had that improvement on the offensive side. And remember, Pat Murphy gave him a shot to stay in the lineup against left-handed hitters, where he really struggled again, or left-handed pitching, where he really struggled against his rookie season. Gotten better at that, and he's made incredible strides so far this year. And you can kind of say the same about Sal Frelick. Sal Frelick necessarily didn't struggle his rookie year like Terang did, but you can kind of see the trend between both these guys. They've just gotten better every single season up until this point. So another texter here, Eric says, bummer about Shelby Miller, the one of the acquisitions that the Brewers made before the trade deadline, and he won't even be available for the rest of the season for the Brewers. I wonder how big of a blow this will be for the bullpen, especially when they get to October and losing a veteran arm like Miller. Yeah, Miller saying yesterday that he's going to have to. Well, he's going to potentially need another Tommy John surgery. He's done for the season. I mean, if you watch the game that he was pitching in the other day, and you can watch the reaction, he felt that pop in his arm and his elbow. But considering where he's at in his career, he just hit that 10-year service mark. With his age, he has yet to decide whether he wants to have that second Tommy John surgery, because essentially he would be out next year. And given his age and that, he's still trying to decide what he wants to do at this point in time. So, but, Brewers got some other options. And once they get to October and the postseason run, you might see that bullpen actually a little bit different. Maybe some guys getting some starting experience right now might be in that bullpen. So, all right, let's take a quick break. We'll have some more Brewers talk as we start to wrap up the first hour here in just a few minutes. But continue to send me your texts, all right? 715-830-1912 on that Shoe Doctors bullpen line. With the NFL season officially kicking off tonight, I'm also looking for your predictions. Who do you got going to the Super Bowl? Who do you have winning the Super Bowl? And if you want to make your picks, if you did not vote in our Post Glass and Mirror 715 Speaks poll question, you still got time to do so. You can go to our Facebook page and vote over there. Or, again, just comment on the video stream or hit me up with a text. Who do you have winning the NFC North? 64% of you so far saying the Packers, 24% of you saying the Lions, 11% of you saying the Vikings, 1% of you saying the Chicago Bears. Maybe it's just the one voter that we know out there, Mike, that is a Bears fan. All right, so let's take a quick break, and we'll be back in just a few minutes. We'll talk some more baseball. Got some football chat as well. Stick around. We'll be back after these quick words. Coming up Sunday, September 21st, we're doing a little Packtoberfest at our good friends, the VFW Post 305. We're going to start it up at 9 a.m. We'll do a special Packer pregame show as the Packers will be taking on the Cleveland Browns that day. That show will start at 10 a.m., but the VFW Post 305, we'll have a breakfast buffet going on and such, and sounds like we'll even have some free beer for the first few people stopping on over. So put it on your calendars for Sunday, September 21st for Packtoberfest. It's Oktoberfest combined with a little Packer tailgate party, Wisconsin style. So also coming up tomorrow, 8:15, you're going to want to listen. We got a big announcement. So you want to make sure that you're going to be tuning in at 8:15 for an announcement regarding the show and such. So make sure you're tuning in tomorrow at 8:15 to hear what that is. Seatbomb says, with Miller going on the IR, does that open a spot for Robert Gasser to come back? Possibly. Right now it's Pyomps that's back up into the to the bullpen here. But Kurt Hogg, who covers the Brewers for the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel, did say with Robert Gasser now in the minors that it seems like that he's going to be switched to a shorter outing bullpen role at Nashville. So that is definitely a possibility that maybe Robert Gasser is going to be one of those options once they get maybe closer to October and the postseason and such, and see how he handles that. But yeah, that's definitely an option. Good name pull for Robert Gasser for C-Bomb there too. So. But no, I can't tell you what the news is right now either, C-Bomb. So you're going to have to wait till 8:15 tomorrow morning. Again, the Brewers will pitch today 3:10. It's a little bit of a different afternoon game, so mark your calendars or mark your alarms here today. I know usually on getaway days they play a little bit earlier, but it's going to be a 3:10 game. Coverage will begin 35 minutes prior. Nick on our video stream, he's going Ravens versus Packers in the Super Bowl. Packers winning, of course, 31-24. So you can continue to send us your picks, your preseason picks, your division picks, your Super Bowl picks with the NFL officially kicking off 2 nights with the Eagles and the Cowboys. Let's get those picks in. What are your Super Bowl predictions? Text those on over. And, of course, we got a little NFC North predictions over there, too, since technically the football season begins today. NFC North won't be in action till this weekend and such. So got a little bit of time there. But Super Bowl picks, you got to send those on over. A couple more quick messages here. This texter, I don't have a name, says, agree with C-Bomb. I'd like to see Robert Gasser get a shot in the bullpen over Pyomps. Another texter also saying here that Bryce Terang has definitely been an easy MVP for this team. To see the trend that kid has done for the last 3 years is really awesome. I wish the Brewers would have been able to re-sign him a little bit earlier, because maybe it would have been just a little bit cheaper. So yeah, we'll see. I mean, it's still not completely out of the realm here that the Brewers could lock him up. But remember, it's not like he's going to be a free agent or anything like that. They are going to control him all the way until 2029. So they've got time. It's just he's probably going to have some pay raises with arbitration. That's how arbitration works and such. So let's say good morning. Good morning, intern.
Good morning. It's interesting. As I've listened to the conversations, a couple of things have popped into my mind. You know, C-Bomb is a football guy, first, second, and always. So it's interesting as the season gets started that he's still engaged in the Brewers. And I think a lot of people are in that situation right now. You don't want to give up baseball, even though football is upon us, because the Brewers are such a great story right now.
Mm-hmm.
And also interesting, people are saying, you know, and I'm one of those guys, sign them as early as you can. because you can save money. It's almost like we're all of a sudden company men rather than player guys, so that these guys, and they make a lot of money no matter what he signs for. He's going to make more money than you and I. But it's kind of interesting. Everybody wants to sign these guys cheap, cheap, cheap. And it's just kind of interesting to listen to people's thoughts, even though, I'm probably reading more into it than is there, but it is interesting.
And remember, it takes two to tango. A player doesn't have to sign either
Oh, no,
if they
no.
don't want to. I mean, some players may want to bet on themselves, and I'm not saying that's what Terang has done by any means, but you can imagine if right now that price tag is probably higher right now than what it was at the beginning of the season here too. So who knows? I mean, it's easy for a lot of people out there to say sign him now, sign him now, sign him now. But not every player maybe wants to do that. It's a risk, right? It was a risk for some players to sign early. You get the security right away, but if you outplay your contract after a couple of years, you'd be like, dang it, I could be making probably $50 million more at this point in time too, because of how these salaries and sports continue to rise. And that I was listening to Micah Parsons' agent yesterday talk about Parsons, how much he's making and such, and where TJ Watt's number was, and now where Micah Parsons' number was, and kind of where the trend is in a couple of years. You're talking about that same position player like a Micah Parsons, where he's at $47 million per year. It'd probably just be a couple of years where it's going to be $65 million per year, and that's just the trend that it's been going on. So it's those players want those contracts. Some players want those contracts now, so they have that security in case they get hurt. But, in a couple of years, they'd be like, dang, I could be making $20 million more maybe if I would have just been a little bit more patient. But it's the risk you got to take. It's gambling. It's a gambler's
Especially in
choice.
football. And I think people are starting to recognize that, yeah, the quarterbacks are going to be the highest paid, but who's next most valuable in that pay chain? Is it a wide receiver, or is it that difference maker on defense, a guy like a Micah Parsons? I think maybe the defensive position, TJ Watt, Micah Parsons, they're starting to rewrite. I think TJ Watt started it. They're starting to rewrite a difference maker on the defense as maybe the second most valuable player on those teams, on an NFL team.
Yeah, Myles Garrett got probably the big one right away, and it kind of set the tone for a lot of these defensive. It was Myles Garrett, then then TJ, and then we'll see what Trey Hendrickson. I know he got a pay raise for this year to come back and such, and now Micah has set the record, and honestly, it might be Aiden Hutchinson from Detroit in a couple of years that might set the new record and such. It's pass rushers are at a premium. Is definitely a position group that when you look on the defensive side, not to downplay any other position or anything like that, but it's definitely, I would say, probably the most, if not the one of the most, if not the most important position on the defensive side there. A lot of different roles in that, but you can definitely tell. I mean, when Micah Parsons is now the highest paid non-quarterback player in NFL history, it kind of and that used to be TJ Watt. It kind of tells you how these teams view the importance of a pass rusher. So
maybe interesting if a person could go back. Remember when the Packers signed Reggie White? You were just a young sprout, but he got, I think, $17.5 million. I wonder where that ranked him as far as the pay scale of players non-quarterbacks, because the quarterbacks have always been the highest paid. But was Reggie at that time the highest non-quarterback salary?
According to this, he was the third highest paid player at the time. I'd have to see what who was above him and that, but
And were they both quarterbacks?
yeah, that's I'd have to double check that here, but at that time was the third high, and if it was quarterbacks, I'm assuming they probably were quarterbacks on there, which kind of tells you the how much that actually was for Reggie White to be the third highest paid player. That would have been 1993. Let me see if I can find that out quick.
So the trend really hasn't changed a lot, just that the dollar figures have changed a lot from 17.5 billion to the hundred and whatever million Micah Parsons, TJ Watt are getting. I think, the trend remains the same. It's just the dollars have changed so much.
Top salaries in 93 was Troy Aikman, $50 million over 8 years. Steve Young, $26.75 million over 5 years. John Elway was 18.8. It looks like it's a year per average, I'm assuming.
Mm-hmm.
Barry Sanders, $17.2 million. Reggie White, $17 million. Then Dan Marino was $22.6 million over 8 years. So that's looks like what were the top salaries in at least 1993. So, which
I think all those top salary earners back then earned their money. Great players.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So
all in the Hall of Fame.
Mm-hmm. It's I'm just trying to. So yeah, and again, it's when you get to these contracts, it's all dependent on, okay, how do you view the highest paid? Is it average per year? Is it guaranteed money? Because you're gonna have agents kind of promote one way or the other. So so by the end of 93, Steve Young and Troy Aikman would sign new deals that would make White the fifth highest at that point too. So when White did become the third highest paid player, he trailed only John Elway and Dan Marino at that time. So but then yeah, Aikman and Young got their contracts at the end of the year too. So but again, that's somebody's going to pass Micah Parsons here probably next year. That's the reality of it. It's going to happen next year or the year after. Same with quarterbacks. When all these fans complain about, quarterback making too much money, or, if he gets the biggest contracts, there's this mindset, well, he's not the best best quarterback in the league. That's not what contracts are really based off of who's the best player. I know it would make sense if it was, but it's really not the case there. It's just, what does the market dictate at that point in time? And you can make the case that's like that in every single sport out there, So it's dependent on what the market dictates at that time. So that's why I don't get up in arms on who becomes the highest paid player and whether they're the best player or best quarterback or best pitcher or whoever. It's just all based off of what the market tells you at that point. Don't have to like it. It's just that's the reality of it. So
yeah, and as that salary cap keeps going up, we're going to have new records.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like
just the way it works.
What Parsons' agent said, defensive end pass rusher is probably going to be $65 million a year next in a couple of years here. I mean, that's almost a $20 million $20 million addition after just this year. So, but a couple more texts coming in here. This one is from Luke surrounding the Brewers here. If you would have told me at the beginning of the year that the Brewers would win their season series over the Dodgers and the Phillies, I would have said you're drunk and nuts. It's been fantastic. Yes, definitely would have liked to have seen them get the season series over the Cubs so they would hold the tiebreaker. But sweeping the Dodgers and what they've done against the Phillies has been super impressive. But it's also the reason why I don't want to see the Brewers face the Cubs in the postseason. Jeff also saying, I agree with what a couple of you said. I didn't think the Brewers had a chance last night after seeing the lineup that they put in. But again, that's typical Brewers this year. Never underestimate them. Because these guys have continued to step up. So, Surveyor Sam says it's football time. Let's bleepin' go. Yep, kickoff tonight. Cowboys, Eagles. Kenny Clark, former Packer. If you're a Kenny Clark fan, you get to see him in action tonight. And then remember, tomorrow there's another game. It's the Chiefs and Chargers will be kicking off. So, another texter here with the Brewers. Agree. I'd rather see Robert Gasser go get a shot in the bullpen instead of Payamps. Hopefully, it's just a short time for Payamps just to get a fresher arm. Have never been impressed with him over the years with the Brewers. Again, tonight, Freddie Peralta getting a start with the 17th win. Eric says Freddie Peralta has easily been overlooked by the national media this year. You're talking about a guy with the most wins as a starting pitcher this season. I still feel like he should get more love in the National League Cy Young race. I know it's going to go to Paul Skeens, and everybody is going to vote for Paul Skeens. And I know Freddie has been getting more talk about it, but I feel like he still deserves more credit for the season he has been having. If the Brewers do decide to trade him this offseason, I would expect a huge return and immediate players and not just double A prospects. So, yeah, and we chatted about that the other day. If the Brewers do decide to trade him, like it's kind of a thought out there. I would imagine that price tag's probably already gone up too in terms of the overall haul that they could get back for Freddie Peralta.
But
So
again, if you're going to trade Peralta and people say we want frontline players, how long are those frontline players going to be with the Brewers? Because you got to look at their contracts. If they're on a short contract, the Brewers aren't going to be able to re-sign those guys because their contracts are going to be huge as well. So this is really a touch and go situation for Matt Arnold. And Adonasio's got to really weigh in on this thing about what he's willing to do if you're going to get frontline players that can help you right now versus prospects. This is a touchy situation.
yeah, I think a lot would depend. Kind of like, let's say, a Terang. If there was somebody like him available, where you have that arbitration control for like 4 or 5 years,
Mm-hmm.
that would be, I think, something the Brewers would really like to see. I can't see them trading Peralta for another player that might just have a year, because to me that would be like, what's the point of that
Giving him
then?
away.
Yeah, like what's the point of, like, it'd be kind of like when they traded Williams, and let's say they didn't get Caleb Durbin in return, but it was like Williams for Nestor Cortez. What's the point? Yeah, Nestor Cortez was going to be a free agent too. But I think the real reason they got was they wanted Caleb Durbin as part of that deal, and Cortez was just added in as like, hey, we get another starter. Because I don't think the Brewers thought at any point that they'd have the depth at starting pitching like they've shown so far this year.
No, I
I
don't
don't
think
think
so either.
they factored that in. I mean, you know, I, they were hoping and knew that Woodruff would be back, but I mean, to play this well, no, I don't think they had that. At that point, they didn't have Quinn Priester. They were kind of forced to make that move, and that's worked wonders. Even I would say Jose Quintana has exceeded expectations this year. He's 11-5, and for kind of a back end veteran starter, I'd take that 8 days out of a 7-day week. Yeah, it's just I think he's exceeded all expectations for what the Brewers had for him, but also what fans probably had. Unless for some reason you thought Jose Quintana was going to be an ace or a top two starter coming in here, I mean, that's super high expectations, but I would say Quintana has definitely surpassed anything. I thought maybe 11-10 record, 11-9, almost a little over 500 around there, but 11-5, I'd take that for a veteran pitcher and Jose Quintana. So
And especially, I don't know what his contract is, but I know they didn't overpay him because he
mhm.
was looking for a job, and he's earned his paycheck.
Yeah, he has. He did. That was a nice little late spring training edition for the Brewers, and it's definitely worked out. So, all right, we got shot clock's gonna cut me off in about a minute here. We'll talk some more Brewers. Continue to send me your predictions. What's your Super Bowl picks? Get them in now. You can't wait till after the game. That's not how it works. You got to place your bets right now, people. If you had to pick somebody to win a Super Bowl, or what's your Super Bowl matchup, let me know now. Text it 715-830-1912, or you can comment on the video streams. Also, who wins the NFC North? Who wins the NFC North? A lot of you going with the Packers, which probably isn't a big surprise at this point in time. So, but you can send those on over 715-830-1912. We'll hit that up. Don't forget, too, you can send me your questions for Jake, our DNR warden buddy, Mr. Jake Boakes. If you got something for the upcoming hunting seasons or the hunting seasons that have already started, there's no such thing as a stupid question. So if you want to ask Jake a question, let us know so we can get those to him. One in, two more to go. Got a quick break, and we'll be back after these news updates. Second hour kicking off right now on this Thursday morning. A big thanks for making us a part of your start. If you are already up and at it, whether you're tuning in on those radio dials, 105.1 FM or 790 AM online at sportstalk1051.com. You got the video streams, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Instagram. We appreciate you no matter how you're tuning in. We'll get back to some more Brewers talk here as the Brewers are looking to get a series win. They've already clinched the season series against the Phillies, but looking for another series win against the Phillies this afternoon. The NFL officially kicks off tonight. Dallas, Philly, we're taking your predictions, your season predictions. Since the season officially begins tonight. Surveyor Sam, NFC North champ, Lions, hater. NFC Championship game, Packers versus 49ers. AFC Championship, Bills versus Ravens. Super Bowl, Packers versus Bills. Super Bowl, Packers versus Bills. Super Bowl winner is going with the Bills over the Packers. MVP, Joe Burrow. Offensive Player of the Year, Josh Jacobs. Defensive Player of the Year, Aiden Hutchinson. Rookie of the Year, Ashton Genty. Keep those coming. I like that. I like those deep dive picks from you, Surveyor. Oh boy, way to do some work here this morning. Also, don't forget, make your picks at our website, sportstalk1051.com. Click on that Fan Cave tab. Scroll all the way down to the bottom. Get your picks in for our Pro Football Weekly Pick'em Challenge and the Survivor Pick'em Challenge. All right. So, Surveyor, by the way, you going to stop by our Packtober Fest coming up on September 21st? You better. Maybe I'll put you on the air there. Hey, also, too, tonight, don't forget, since the Brewer game is this afternoon, if you want to watch a little football, the Blue Gold football season officially begins tonight at Carson Park. They're going to be taking on Carroll College. So even though the NFL season begins tonight too, got the Blue Gold season officially kicking off tonight as well. Kickoff for that game is at 6 p.m. So again, if you live around the area around Carson Park and you're like, what the heck is all that noise coming from from that area? It's because the Blue Gold season officially kicks off tonight. And in a couple hours from now, episode 1 of season 3 of the Rollin' with the Golds podcast will drop. So that's available wherever you listen to your podcast, previewing the fall sports season for the UW Eau Claire Blue Golds. A couple more texts. What's the trivia here question, Surveyor? Are you waiting to tell me that one? Mike says for his Super Bowl prediction, he's got Ravens and Lions. Ravens over the Lions. Another one here, I don't have a name, has Eagles, Ravens. Ravens over the Eagles. We got Alex saying Packers over Bills. And then Richard, he is going to go with Packers over Chiefs in the Super Bowl. So keep those coming. Keep them coming. We'll see if we kind of have a theme, or not a theme, but a common who becomes the most popular pick for our Super Bowl predictions. Okay, yeah, I won't say that one off the air. So we'll make some picks with ours coming up a little bit later on here too, probably towards the back end here, but also send those questions on over for Mr. Bolks if you do have a question for our DNR warden buddy, Mr. Jake Bolks. So Packers did return to practice yesterday, kind of a normal week now, game week here. The only 2 players to not participate in practice yesterday was Jaden Reed, as he's kind of managing that foot injury of his that's going to be plaguing him throughout the full season. Nate Hobbs also officially didn't practice, but some reporters kind of listed him as a participant because of how much work he was doing in the rehab section. I think today is going to be the big day to find out whether Nate Hobbs is going to be able to actually go this weekend against the Lions or not. If he's officially listed as a non-participant in practice, I would have to imagine he's probably not going to be playing this weekend. But Elton Jenkins returned to practice. Micah Parsons still practiced. I know they're kind of downplaying whether he's going to be available. They don't know if he's going to be available to play this weekend or not, but I think he's going to play. The official reports for the Packers: Zane Anderson limited, Elton Jenkins limited, Micah Parsons limited, Barron Sorrell limited, Dontavian Wicks limited, Savion Williams limited. So again, the only two that were DNPs were Nate Hobbs and Jaden Reed. So again, today's the big one. Today and tomorrow are the big ones to see who's going to be able to be out back on the practice field. For what's worth, Jordan Love was listed as a full participant in practice. Still has a little bit of a brace, thumb brace on that left hand, but didn't have any issues, according to Rob Domofsky. Did not have any issues taking snaps in their drills yesterday. So Matt LaFleur talking to the media yesterday before practice when asked about Micah Parsons' status for Sunday against Detroit. Typical Matt LaFleur answer: we'll see. He's doing everything in his power. Got to get through a couple practices to see how he responds, but certainly hopeful. Again, that's a typical coach speak, trying to get any little advantage that they possibly can at this point in time. But you can guarantee the Lions are preparing for Micah Parsons to play in this game, and I think it'd be more of a surprise if he's not playing in this game on Sunday, especially at home, especially a division opponent in the Lions that you're trying to knock off from the from the division. So, how much do you think the Micah Parsons trade has changed the Packers' forecast for the season, in your opinion, intern?
Oh, I think a lot. I think one of the things that I'm going to be watching is what kind of an effect he has on Rashad Gary and Lucas Van Ness. Are they going to step up their game a little bit? Can they step up their game? I think it's going to be interesting to see how those two guys help out Micah Parsons or take advantage of having Micah Parsons on the field. Those are two of the guys that I'm going to be watching, the Micah Parsons effect, because I think those two guys can learn a lot from Parsons and take advantage of him being the focus of the offense. There's no question. Like you said, the Lions are definitely preparing for Micah Parsons to be on the field. If they're not, they're negligent in their game preparation.
Does it maybe change? I don't know what you had in the for like division championship or anything like that. Does it move the meter for you in that aspect?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But I think we'll know. Well, will we know more after this first game, depending on Micah Parsons' health? I think, like you said, coach speak. And so, what does that mean, really? Do we read between the lines? Is there anything to it, or is he going to be a full go? And I think that'll make a lot of difference as far as how this first game and the season play out. Because if they can beat the Lions and especially kind of establish their will over the Lions in this first game, I think it's going to make a difference and it's going to have an effect on the following 16 games for both teams.
Joe, his predictions are Green Bay 12-5, Detroit 12-5, Green Bay wins tiebreaker, Minnesota 10-7, Chicago 8-9. So he's got Green Bay winning the division this year in a tight one. So
yeah, I think it'll be tight. I think everybody expects that. And the Bears should quote unquote be somewhat of a factor in who wins that division.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know I keep saying this, and people are probably like, "No, you've said this," but I think it's top to bottom the best division in football.
Well, everybody says
and
that.
NFC North. I mean, when you get some people saying the AFC North's on there, but Cleveland kind of ruins that for me because I mean, who the hell's playing quarterback any given week over there? Top to bottom to me, it's the NFC North, and I honestly don't even think it's that close. Maybe a little bit with the AFC West, but again, I don't know. I mean, you got Kansas City, Denver's going to be better. I know they made the postseason last year. Chargers are going to be up there too. The wild card is going to be the Raiders. I think Pete Carroll is going to do a good job with them over there. So honestly, I think the top two divisions in football for me, AFC North is not second. I'd go NFC North and AFC West as the top two divisions, but I still, top to bottom, I think the NFC North is going to be more competitive than the AFC West. AFC West will be good. It'll be competitive, but I don't think as competitive as the NFC North, where I'm going to be like almost scoreboard watching every single week, and my stress levels are going to be high and watching to see if, Lions or Vikings or Bears are going to be able to lose that week and such, and try to figure out like, okay, who do we want to lose this week if it's a division game, between, Vikings and Lions? Who do we need to lose this week to help us out? It's going to be a long 18 weeks because I think it's just that division could be that good this year.
And I think that says a lot. Normally you say, well, who do we beat? Not who's going to lose to help us out. That's, that indicates how tight this division is probably going to be. And it's not going to be right down to the last 2-3 weeks of the season before we really know who's going to control this division. Who that doesn't control the division is going to make the playoffs. It's going to be quite an interesting season for the NFC North, no question about it. I think the quarterback to watch in the all NFL across the whole league is going to be Bo Nix in Denver. I think he came on last year, and I think Sean Payton is going to make him a really good quarterback, and I expect that to happen this season. I think Denver is getting a little shortchanged. They're recognizing they're better, but how good are they? I think Bo Nix is going to make them a difference maker this year.
Surveyor, I just saw your trivia question. Okay. But since 2000, there have been 8 Packer players to have 10 or more sacks in a single season. Can you name all 8? Ooh. I think I could do this. All right, ready?
Yeah,
I think I could do it. So 8.
I can.
Okay, so 2000. Clay Matthews, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Zadarius Smith has to be on there. I think he did it his first year. Was it 2019 when he did it? So this is the tricky one you got to think for 2000, right? So Clay Matthews, Zadarius Smith, Aaron Campman. Kabir had to do it a couple times or a few times. KBG or KGB. That's 4, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's go Preston Smith too. His first year, I think they had double digits. So that's 5. 2000. Trying to go through the years of 2000, like Favre eras and that. Nick Perry, because he had double digits when he got that new contract, and we saw how that worked out afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
So that's 6. And I hope, Surveyor, you have them all so you can tell me if I got them right or wrong here, because I'm not going to remember them all. So 6. Rashawn never had 10, because I've been saying that for how long, that he hasn't had 10 sacks yet. I said that. I said Campman. I said Clay. Clay had to have done it a couple times. Nick Perry, I'm at 6. Oh, Julius Peppers, I think, had one. So I'll say Julius Peppers. I don't know if it was his first year in 14. I think Julius Peppers did have one. So that's 7. I don't know if this one's right, but I know he had this weird year where it was like, really? I don't know if he had 10, but for time purposes, I'm going to say his name, and I'm probably going to get ridiculed. I think Kyler Fackrell had double-digit sacks one year.
Kyler Fackrell?
Kyler Fackrell.
Kyler Fackrell. I barely remember that name.
I think Kyler Fackrell. I think it was a weird year that he had double-digit sacks. I think one game he had like 3 or 4 sacks in a game, or some ridiculous number like that. So is that 8? Clay, Aaron Campman, Baja Biamila, Zadarius, Preston, Peppers, Fackrell. I thought I had 8.
Yeah, who did we miss here?
Who did I miss here? Oh, and Pepper. Did I say Pepper?
Julius Pepper.
Yeah, that's 8, right?
Yep, should be.
Did I get him right, Surveyor? Did I get it? Okay. Surveyor says KGB, Clay Matthews, Aaron Campman, Zadarius Smith, Preston Smith, Julius Peppers, Nick Perry, and Kyler Fackrell. Boom!
Bingo. Good jobs. Gold star of the day. I mean, Kyler Fackrell, now that's an outlier. That's a
I gotta look that
good
up
one.
now to see what year he
Wow.
did it. I thought there was like a game that he had where it was like he had like 4 sacks in a game, and it just kinda, like, skewed the numbers or something like that. Let me see if I can find that game.
When
What's
was the last time a Packer had 4 sacks in one game? It was probably him.
so what year was it that he had, the sack? Where's the sack? Oh, there it is. Okay, so it was 2018. He had 10 and a half sacks. Yeah, I gotta know this game. So he had okay, it was 3 sacks against Seattle in 2018. He had 3 sacks. Oh, he did it twice. That's what it was. He had 2 games where he had 3 sacks. He did it against Buffalo in week 4 and then Seattle. So in 2 games he had 6 sacks. And then you just have like one half and it added up
Mhm.
that way.
I barely remember him, let alone that he'd have 10 sacks in 1 year.
I think he wore 51. So,
Yeah.
I think so.
I know the name, but
Yeah.
barely.
Surveyor, do I get a gold star?
You get a gold star from us. You get an attaboy.
Or, as my wife would say, that you're just a nerd.
Well, there's that too.
All right, tell you what, let's take a quick break. Keep your picks coming though. Who do you got winning the division? Who do you got winning your Super Bowl?
And come up with a question to stump the host. Surveyor couldn't do it.
I don't know how I pulled Kyler Fackrell on my butt, but I just remember that one year he had that weird like double, because I just remember like Kyler Fackrell had like a bunch of sacks in one game, but ended up being 2. So, all right, quick break, and we'll be back after these few words. So as we mentioned, the Blue Gold football team will kick off their season tonight at Carson Park, but another college team kicked off their season last Thursday at Camp Randall Stadium. And even though it was a win, I got to ask, what was the environment like for you when you were down there? What was the experience like?
The tailgating was the same as always, but in the stadium it seemed like, and there were a lot of people. The stadium was more full than I thought it would be, but there was kind of a feeling of apprehension and but you got to play Alabama, you got to play Oregon, you got to play Michigan. It's resignation, I think, already that this team isn't going anyplace.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the quarterback got hurt in a freak accident in the middle of the field, and they brought this other kid in who played a good game. He's a good, hard-nosed, Big Ten type player. I mean, he made a big play. It was 3rd and 12, and he took the ball back, and he saw a hole and ran for 15 yards. They haven't had a quarterback in I don't know how many years that has done that. So I think this team the offensive line is not good. They didn't run very well against Western Michigan or Miami, Ohio. And the offensive line's got to get better. The running backs got to get better. I think the preseason predictions for this team are going to be pretty accurate.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't see where they can get over the top against a lot of teams. And I think the teams they've got to get over are the Iowa, Nebraska, Minnesotas of the league. Because I don't think won't beat Illinois. Bielema's got a nice team. He's figured out how to operate in this era of NIL and transfer portal. He's got a very good team in Illinois. And I don't think this Wisconsin team don't cancel your New Year's Eve plans because I don't think you're going to a football game.
Yeah, so I was kind of curious. Like, I know a lot of people, and we were talking with RJ about it too. Outside the win, a positive, maybe the defense was a little impressive.
Defense played nice. Yeah, they did.
Especially
they
up front.
Nice play. Mm-hmm. Yep, they did. I got to give it to the defense. We'll see as the season goes along how they can hold up
against better competition.
Yeah, against better competition. I mean, I don't think Middle Tennessee is going to provide anything. I think they were 17-point favorite last week. This week, I think they're
more
24 or something like that. So we'll see. But I don't think the offense is so inconsistent, and for the play calling and the schemes that they use with the talent they have, they still have wide receivers who can't get open. And if you can't get open against, the teams they've got early on their schedule, how are you going to get open against the top of the Big Ten?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's just so many things. Everybody says, oh, they won the game. Good, they're on their way. But you still have to look at, how the game was played and how they handled it. I mean, you go in at halftime ahead 3-0. That's not a lot of confidence.
Yeah.
So that I think there's a lot of apprehension. There's hope, but a lot of apprehension about how good this team can be. I don't know what their upper limit is. Hopefully they haven't even gotten near it yet.
Mm-hmm.
But I know the starting quarterback is still out this week. And this, I believe O'Neal is his name, is coming into play again. But he's a grinder.
Mm-hmm.
He's not going to be a Heisman Trophy candidate, but he's not afraid to bloody his nose or mix it up. He's not a very big kid, but he's a grinder.
Mm-hmm. This, I forgot to throw this up, but Surveyor, so you were wondering who was the last time a Packer player had 4 sacks in a game?
Yeah.
Some other fun facts for Sean Gary was the last with 3 sacks in a game in 2023 against the Saints. Baha Biamila had the last 4-sack game in 2005 against the Bears. And I remember this Vonnie Holiday game. Vonnie Holiday had the most sacks in 98 against the Bills with 5 sacks in that game. I remember that because I remember the clip afterwards in the locker room when Favre was telling him to go upstairs and sign a contract extension. Because remember, Vonnie Holiday came in and it was supposed to be like the Reggie White replacement.
Yeah, I
came in
remember
with
that.
this whole, and he went on to have a longer career, but he was like an interior defensive lineman. They tried to make a defensive end, and trying to replace a legend like Reggie. The the expectation's pretty high, but I remember that because then I remember like it was the next couple days when they'd have like the locker room stuff. Favre giving him a hug and saying, "Go up there and sign an extension." So referring to management upstairs. So I guess let me ask you this then, Surveyor, and everybody else, I guess, out there too. So Surveyor earlier, only 8 Packer players since 2008 or since 2000 have had double-digit sacks. Does Micah Parsons add his name to that this year?
Have doubled it. Yeah, I think well, it's going to depend on his health. I don't know what this back issue is all about and whether it's just more smoke than fire from the coaching staff before the first game. If he's healthy, yes, I think he will.
Yeah, he's had a double-digit sack every single year so far. So I think the odds are that yes, he will. But or let me maybe this is the better way. Will the Packers have 2 double-digit sack leaders
I
or
was going to bring
double-digit
that.
sack guys?
I
Yeah.
was going to bring that same point up. Is this going to? I think Rashad Gary is the only guy that possibly we could put in there as hopeful. Lucas Van Ness, I don't think he's aggressive enough. He still looks like he's kind of lost out there. I don't know who the other person would be because I don't think any of the other linebackers are going to do this unless they're going to change the scheme a little bit with Micah Parsons on the field to make some of these linebackers better or more exposed to the plays. I don't know how their defensive scheme is going to line up, but I think right now Rashad Gary is the only guy that's got a chance
Yeah.
with Parsons there.
Yeah, I think those would be the two obvious ones for sure. So, I'm gonna say yes. I'll say bold prediction. I don't know if they call it necessarily a bold, but I say both have at least 10 this year.
That is a bold prediction.
I think they'll do it the first time since I believe this would be the first time since Preston and Zadarius did it. And would that be 19, Surveyor? 18? 19. 19, right? Yeah. I think that's when they signed up. But it's possible. I think they'll do it.
If they do, then they'll win the division. Because I think it's going to make a big difference with the rest of the defense if those guys can get that many sacks. Because how many times they get 10 sacks, how much pressure on other plays are they going to put on a quarterback? You give a quarterback in the NFL time to look it over, and I don't care if you got 4 all-pro defensive backs. You can only cover guys for so long without them getting open or you causing an interference or holding or whatever the case may be. If they get 2 guys with 10 plus sacks plus the other pressures, that'll go a long way to division title.
I'm just trying to. Where is? Thought they had. Why can't that load up? Because they were top 10 in sacks just outside the top 5 in total sacks last year. Green Bay was. So I think they're going to get top 5 this year. Denver
you
had
throw
63.
Micah Parsons in the mix, they're only going to get better. They're not going to go down.
Yeah. Okay. That's trying to find something a little bit more specific. Here we go. Is this going to actually? No, that's player stats. I don't want player stats. So, anyways, yeah, I'll go double digit. Get a couple people saying yes, double digit sacks for both Rashawn and Micah Parsons. Eric and Chris both chiming in with that. So Micah Parsons has 15. We've got Rashawn Gary with 12. That's from Josh.
That's pretty aggressive.
So is it though? I mean, Zadarius and Preston. Let me go with their numbers. So yeah, there was both in 19. Let me bring.
Well, it was only a 16-game schedule.
Right.
So you got one less game.
Right.
But those guys came on and they really, they surprised me how good they were.
So
they really had good years.
So in 2019, Preston had 12 sacks. Zadarius Smith, I know Zadarius had more. Let me just bring up what he actually got in 2019. So 2019, Zadarius had Load up. This dang computer. Come on.
I don't remember the total number, but I remember that year.
Za'Darius had 13.5, so that would be what, 20, 25.5 total between the two.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, one more 15 and 12 would just be 27. So, I mean, we're talking just a couple than what Za'Darius and Smith had. So, and I think Rashawn Gary in 2019, what did he have his rookie year?
Hopefully we can keep him healthy and he can play more than what I think I heard you talking about stats the other day, how many plays these guys and
snap counts. Yeah. Snap
Gary
percentage.
was, Gary was only 50, 60%. He's got to play more than that.
I think, with that's where one thing I want to see how I know they want to do rotations and keep guys healthy now, but I'm sorry. When you got a guy like Micah Parsons, you play him as much as possible. TJ Watt plays 90% of the snaps. Myles Garrett plays 90%. Micah Parsons was doing it. Play him 90% of the snaps. I don't want to see 50 to 60 week in and week out if he can go out there.
Absolutely not.
You need your difference makers out there. I understand the rotations, but I have questions on the depth after these guys. So if you had a little bit better depth, okay. But you're paying that man to go after and get the quarterback. I want to see 90% of the snaps that he's out there.
Yeah, depth and situation. I remember going way back to the playoff game the Packers lost, and they asked Mike McCarthy, why wasn't Clay Matthews on the field on a defensive set? Oh, wasn't he on the field? I mean, these guys want to be on the field. They're paid to be on the field. Your defensive scheme wraps around these guys. They got to be on the field.
Schefter just posted a couple minutes ago about Parsons, one team that made a strong play this summer to try to get Micah Parsons, the Eagles. Can you imagine if the Eagles got Micah Parsons?
Oh, man. Going back to Pennsylvania? Mm-hmm. Oh, Lord.
And obviously, he says here, Dallas did not want to trade him within the division.
I'll tell you, if they would have, I'd have held them up for their whole offensive line or whatever. I mean, if I was going to trade Micah Parsons to Philadelphia, what Green Bay gave him would be comparison to trading for a second string tackle. I mean, I'd have held up Philadelphia for all they had.
4 or 5 first-round picks,
yeah.
And then players, and players attached. Yeah, and if Philly would have been, then I'd be like, if you're willing to do that, go for it, I guess.
Yeah.
But holy moly, that would just be like, no. And I would hate it. Just, yeah. It's like Philadelphia does already a good job with defensive line and defensive front. So
what did Schefter say was their interest?
They tried to, that Philly called Dallas and tried to, but Dallas didn't want to trade him within the division. So yeah, it says Cowboys had no interest in trading him within the division. So I don't know what the offer was, but
how do you look at that as okay within the division? But if I'm Dallas and Jerry Jones, I can knock Philadelphia off their perch in a hurry with my demands, and they're either going to live up to it and trade for my demands or just forget it. So, but to dismiss it out of hand, I think just shows Jerry Jones should not be the Cowboys general manager, because I just sure pursued it. Here's what I've got to have for one of the best players in football. But if he didn't even pursue it,
well, I don't know. I think probably what we were just saying. If Philadelphia would have offered him boatloads more than what Green Bay did, then I think there's maybe something. But I think there's also a line that Philadelphia said, yeah, we're not going to give you 4 first rounders and all that stuff too. I mean, that's just ridiculous at that point. But I don't know how far it got. We don't know that. So.
Well, yeah, no, I don't
know.
But the negotiations wouldn't have probably been the next 4 years first rounders. It might have been every other year or something like that. But
remember
Dallas, I'm taking players off of this current roster.
But remember,
this current roster dominated last year. The Super Bowl is a good example.
And remember too, Ted Thompson was not trading Favre within the division either when he traded him to the Jets. Because Minnesota wanted him, even Chicago was apparently interested, and there was out there like, nope, that ain't happening either. They're not trading him within the division. So.
But do you put a quarterback in a different situation than a defensive player? As great as Micah Parsons is, I
I think
I
if
think they're kind of
Favre at
apples
that
and
point in
oranges.
time in his career, I think it's a little bit different because you probably had 1 year left to Favre. Who knows, 2 years? I mean, he was so dicey of whether he was going to play or not at that point. So I don't know. I think it's a little bit of a different situation at
But
that
that
point.
year he
But
played for the Vikings, the Jets year you throw out. But if he'd have went from the Packers to the Vikings right away, I think the Vikings might have a Lombardi trophy in their case.
I don't know.
We'll never know, of
Yeah,
course. It's just speculation.
but no, I mean, I understand not trading within divisions and that because I mean, then you got the guy coming, you got to face him twice
Oh, I do
and
too.
all that, and but it's yeah.
But knowing the circus of the Dallas Cowboys and Jerry Jones, I'm surprised he didn't make that known and say, this made it public what I want and make Philadelphia back down.
Because I still think he thought for sure, probably towards the end, that Micah Parsons was still going to be a Dallas Cowboy. I feel like he still thought that was going to be the case here, and you read all the stuff, and even the day that Parson got traded, they went back to Dallas to try to negotiate in good faith for a contract. But Jerry Jones just has this thing up his whatever that he wants to talk to the player, negotiate with the players instead of agents, which I'm sorry, Jerry, it's 2025. It's not 1991 anymore or whatever, back in the day. So,
Ask Jim Ringo with the
mhm.
Green Bay Packers how that worked, talking to the player versus an agent.
Yep. All right, let's take a quick break and we'll wrap up the second hour coming up after these quick words. Last call for any questions for our DNR warden buddy, Mr. Jake Folks. Text those on over to us at 715-830-1912 on that Shoe Doctors bullpen line. Get to Jake coming up at about a little close to 8:30 here this morning. We had James on our video stream saying, who will win the North? I think the Packers will. I'm a little hesitant about making them a Super Bowl pick because the division will be so competitive. I fear they may get beat up by the postseason. Fun prediction about the Friday 8:15 announcement. A misinterpreted handshake between Dan and station management has led to Dan signing a market-changing contract for Morning Talk. Yeah, no, that I can tell you right now, it ain't that. So, no. Nope, not setting the bar there. So, I like it though. I like the creativity. Thanks, James. Let's do some receive or defer here this morning. Go
All
for
right.
you.
Receive or defer. The Cubs are under more pressure than the Brewers through the rest of the season.
Yeah, I'll receive that for sure. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
I will too. But receive or defer. None of the baseball postseason awards are settled yet. I know you mentioned Skeens earlier as far and away the choice for Cy Young. I don't necessarily agree with that.
Well, I think based off how
He's
the
a leader.
voters are going, because MLB has been doing polls with the voters and that, and that's not even close. I think that's locked up. I don't think the NL one should be locked up, even though they said Ohtani's running away with it. I would disagree with that one. I think Schwarber should get some more recognition for that. AL is definitely Cal Raleigh and Aaron Judge, but Aaron Judge has been missing so much time. I think, especially if Seattle makes it, I think you got to give it to Cal Raleigh at that point.
Skubal over at Detroit, he's kind of cooled off.
Yeah.
As far as pitching.
Garrett Grochette's getting more talk about that in the AL. I mean, at this point, how do you not have Pat Murphy as National League Manager of the Year again? Unless something, I mean, I honestly think National League Manager of the Year is going to come down to whoever wins the Central. Cubs or Brewers. Cubs win it, Craig Counsell is going to get National League Manager of the Year. Brewers win it, Pat Murphy's going to be National League Manager of the Year. So I think it comes down to that.
And I agree with you. I don't agree with the national media that Skeens firing ahead in the leadership.
No, I think Peralta should get more attention and more love and credit for the season he has. I think there is a little bit of name recognition with it too that plays in it. Not to dismiss Paul Skeens as he just doesn't have the run support like Jacob deGrom did when he won it with the Mets and that. And you look at the ERA now. I would say that Peralta I think deserves more praise for the season he's been having.
Yeah, and that's why I don't think, even though I agree with you, Skeens is ahead, get more recognition. I just don't think it's over yet.
I think it is.
All right. Well,
I hope I'm wrong, but I'd be shocked if it's not Paul Skeens at this point.
Yeah.
That's why it's like I think the Ohtani one too. I get it. But you look at his numbers like average, they're not what it was last year.
No, I think we're looking and facing some Ohtani fatigue.
Yeah.
He has been over media to us. And you look at all the highlight shows, Dodgers, Yankees, Brewers, the best team in baseball right now, kind of an afterthought. Philadelphia gets in there. But and are the voters still the writers, or do the broadcasters have a vote in any of this?
I'm not quite sure. To be honest, this was just updated a couple hours ago. American League MVP odds, it's still Judge, minus 300. Cal Raleigh's plus 200. Ohtani, a wide gap between him and Schwarber. Ohtani's minus 1493. Kyle Schwarber's plus 800. That's MVP. And Paul Skeens even getting MVP odds right now. He's at the fourth best.
What if Cal Raleigh played for the Yankees and Judge played for Seattle, and they had comparable numbers to what they're doing right now?
Cal Raleigh would be MVP.
By far.
Yeah. Yep. I totally agree. What's the let me just see some other odds here quick, see if they've been updated. So Cy Young, this was again, we'll just update a couple hours ago. Tariq Skubal, the AL minus 2,500, and then there's a gap. Garrett Groshette second, plus 850. Paul Skeens minus 10,000. Then it's Sanchez from the Phillies plus 1,400. Freddie Peralta plus 4,000. So, what about national?
Okay,
how about the manager?
I'd say that's over.
Manager of the year odds. I'm just curious to see where this one's at here, really quick. If they updated that one in the last couple hours ago. Looks like okay. That one hasn't been updated, but I'll look at it. Keep going. So,
If receiver to Pat Murphy is the manager of the year, are there going to be how many teams will ask the Brewers for permission to talk to Pat Murphy to be a manager of another team?
I'm sure there'll probably be a couple, but I don't see him leaving or going anywhere.
Oh, they could. I mean,
I'm sure there'll be a couple, but the Brewers could say no. So,
well, the Brewers can say no, but how much money might they offer him? Because
well, they can't offer him if
not,
they say no.
Well,
so.
no, but I mean, hypothetically,
Mm-hmm.
if Council's the highest paid manager now, how much more will Murphy make than Council? Because he would be the highest paid manager.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think? Hypothetically.
So what, Council's 8 or 9 per year? I don't know. I still feel like Murphy would probably get 6 or 7. And I think a lot's going to depend on whether the Brewers want a playoff series or not. If they don't, and they go in and out again, I think that factors into it.
Well, we'll see. But I remember when the Cubs won the pennant and won the World Series in 2016, they didn't have a kid for a manager. They went out and got an old guy.
Mm-hmm. But Joe Madden had a little bit more managing experience, went to a World Series with Tampa Bay. Pat Murphy's just wrapping up year 2 for the Brewers and that. So,
and it's major league experience, but baseball experience. I know there are a lot of factors they look at, but I just think Pat Murphy, if he can win this pennant with the Brewers again and advance through the playoffs.
But it goes back to kind of what we were saying earlier. Best ones don't necessarily get paid the most.
Well, that's right.
I think, again, a lot of it is, unfortunately, name recognition when it comes to that, too. So,
well, he's getting a lot of name recognition now.
He will if they get top seed in the National League, too, if they, in this pennant race, if they get the top seed. Yeah, by the way, the odds, it pretty much is whoever wins the NL Central is going to get it. Pat Murphy right now is leading it, minus 175. Craig Counsell's plus 115. Next closest one is Terry Francona at plus 2,300. So it's all.
And the thing is, and it's human nature, you're going to look at the record. If Counsell brings the Cubs back, what a job he did. But what's the difference in the payroll between the Brewers and the Cubs? And for Pat Murphy to have this team 6 games ahead right now, and we're in September, I don't know if the voters, how deep they look beyond just the records and how they finish, because the job he's doing is remarkable.
These are so Counsell is not the highest paid manager. It's Dave Roberts at 8.1. Counsell's 8. Alex Cora, 7.3, Boston Red Sox. Then Torrey from the Diamondbacks is actually next at $5 million. Bruce Bochy's at 4.5, and Bruce Bochy's a multiple World Series winning manager.
Yeah.
Aaron Boone, $4.5 million. This one actually surprised me. Stephen Vogt has $4 million. So I mean, he's entering a second. That one surprised, especially since it's Cleveland. You know, Cleveland's not a team that spends a ton of money either. So that one actually, I'm a little surprised he's up there, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I am too.
But AJ Hinch is on here at 1.2. They only go through 16, and Pat Murphy's not on here. So
Pat Murphy's not making $1 million a year.
Well, it's 1.2. He might be 1. It just they stop at the 1.2. That he's not top 20 highest paid. It looks like. Let me see if I can find what it is. Pat Murphy's salary.
got to be $1 million, I would think.
If this is right, it says 530,000.
Oh my goodness! I mean, the Brewers ought to be ashamed of themselves for not paying him more than that.
Well, maybe they will after this because I think it's surpassing expectations too. So,
well, absolutely, but that's what you always hope. How long a contract does he have? What did he sign for?
That's what I'm trying to find right
with the
now.
Brewers? Because if he's done after this year, he's going to go from 530,000. He'll 10 times he'll make going to another team. He'll be over $5 million. I would expect
3-year contract. Okay. So he'll have 1 year left.
All right.
After this. So yeah, there'll probably be some renegotiation after it. It usually happens that way. So he'll definitely get a pay raise.
And he deserves it.
And Matt Arnold will probably be getting a pay raise too for wherever his contract. So yeah. So all right, what else you got?
That's basically what I had. But okay. It's remarkable though that for as much as we've been talking about the Brewers' success, Chourio hasn't been mentioned. He had a home run, got robbed of a home run the other day. But boy, they've got some arrows in their quiver.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Chourio, I mean, since coming back his last 25 at-bats, he's hitting 400, and he's slugging 760. And this was a kid who was really struggling in his rehab starts from the plate, too. Doesn't look like it right now in that offensive lineup. So, all right. Shot clock's going to cut us off here in 30 seconds. So, coming up, bottom of the hour, we'll catch up with Jake. If you've got any questions to ask him again, this is the final call. Text them to us at 715-830-1912. We'll talk some more baseball with the Brewers trying to go for another series win against the Phillies this afternoon and maybe trying to increase that gap over the Cubs for first place in the division. So, 22 games left to go here for the Brewers. After today, it'll be 21, I believe. So, just a couple weeks away here. 2 in, 1 more to go. We'll be back after these news updates. Final hour kicking off right now on this Thursday morning, September 4th. A big thanks again if you're joining us here this morning. Thank you for joining us. 310, first pitch this afternoon. Brewers taking on the Phillies. Brewers looking to get the series win. You got Freddie Peralta on the mound. Ranger Suarez going for the Phillies. Freddie going for his 17th win on the season. We're going to talk some Brewers here momentarily. We got Jake Boakes joining us at the bottom of the hour here. And so if you got any hunting questions or fishing questions, send those on over to us. Text it 715-830-1912. Reminder too, when we get to these questions with Jake, remember, he doesn't make these rules, these hunting rules or these fishing rules. Like if you have questions with that, those are to the decision makers over there. Just throwing that out there. So Jake doesn't decide the rules. Jake doesn't decide what you can or can't do. He just has to enforce the laws and enforce the rules. So if you have questions like those, where like, why don't they have these rules? Why don't they do that? You gotta send those to the decision makers over there. So looked at so if you're wondering, magic number for the Brewers to clinch. You got 22 games left in this thing. The magic number for the Brewers to clinch at least a wild card spot is just 8 games. So they're just 8 games away from clinching that. Remember, it's a combination of wins and losses and such. But to win their division, and it's probably in all aspects be the top seed, it's 17. So 22 games left in the season. 17 is the magic number for the Brewers. So
and that's come down. I think last week we were talking about that. I think it was 26 or 28.
Mhm.
So it's coming down significantly.
Yep. Remember it, and a lot of it is Cubs keep losing, Brewers
Yep.
keep winning. It's a double whammy for that. So hopefully here it'll get closer to those single digits, because still it's like 17 out of 22. It means it's still kind of tight there. Still kind of tight, but don't plan on Yelich playing today. Pat Murphy said they were going to give him the day today, but the plan hopefully would be that he will return to the lineup in Pittsburgh when the Brewers travel to take on the Pirates this weekend. So, saw MLB.com posted up a thing where each team, the most to prove down the stretch, one player from each team with the most to prove down the stretch. Adam McCalvey, who covers the Brewers for Brewers.com, picked Jacob Misiorowski. Ever since Misiorowski took Major League Baseball by storm in June and early July, including a history-making appearance in the All-Star game, nothing has come easy for the 23-year-old. There was a planned break in July, then an unscheduled break in early August when a comebacker off the right shin sent him to the injured list. In 6 starts since the break, he has a 6.45 ERA and has not pitched beyond the 5th inning. Still, the Brewers plan to use Misiorowski as a starter. Quote, "We need him as a starter right now," Pat Murphy said, and hope to get him on track in time to be a weapon in the postseason rotation with Freddie Peralta and Quinn Priester. If that doesn't happen, the Brewers may have to think about whether he's more valuable this fall in relief. Would you agree that it's the Miz that has the most to prove down the stretch?
Oh, I think so, because I won't say disappointed. I mean, he's a young kid. He's got so much to learn. He came on gangbusters, and we know these are major league guys that played this game for years. They look at tape, they can watch him, they can find holes in his delivery or whatever it is, or his confidence. But I think he's definitely got a tremendous upside.
Mm-hmm.
How come they're not talking Brandon Woodruff for playoff starters?
Well, I think they are. I just think he just threw a couple names, in there too. So, but yeah, I think I would agree with the Miz as the most approved down the stretch here, because if he's continuing to pitch like he is right now, can you count on him as a starter in the I don't know if I could.
No, I don't think you could. And there's that much more pressure in the playoffs because hey, I got one chance. In the regular season, well, my next start, I'll be better. In the postseason, there might not be a next start. So I think there is pressure. he has to come back, gain his confidence, and hopefully he will, because he's shown he's got the ability.
Yeah, I'm really curious to see how that four-man rotation is going to play out. Freddie's getting game one if they can schedule it out that way. Hopefully they don't enter that final weekend series where they got to win games to get the top spot or anything like that. But if they could schedule it out, Freddie's getting game one. We know that. Brandon Woodruff's going to be in there. I mean, Quinn Priester's going to be in there too. And then it's like, okay, Quintana, Miseros, we'll see.
Yeah, depending on who the team is that they play first.
Yeah.
And we're assuming they're going to be in the playoffs. They might need to move a left-handed starter up in the rotation, depending on the batting order of the other team they're playing.
Yep. So,
but they've got that nice flexibility. That's a good thing.
Right. No, I agree. So,
how much chance, Shane, not sticking with baseball, but different from pitching, comeback player in the National League, Yelich going to be in the mix?
Do they do comeback player of the year?
Oh, I thought they did.
Let me see if they
Maybe
do.
they don't.
I think they do. Because I always get it mixed up, comeback and most improved. I don't think they do most improved because that's kind of like, hey, you sucked before and now you got better.
But I think Yelich has had a nice year and he's...
Yeah, they do come back, so.
But I would think he's got to be in the mix from the... Not that he's, been gone, but he's been hurt. He hasn't been healthy. This year he's been more healthy. Hopefully that'll continue. They give him a little rest like today. But I think he deserves strong consideration for comeback player of the year.
I would agree. I would also throw in Brandon Woodruff's name for that just because of the major injury to be able to come back and pitch as well as he has been able to pitch. So I'd throw that one in there. I thought there was another Brewer I was going to think, but I think it's those two. Yeah, because Quinn Priester to me wouldn't be like comeback. That would be like the most improved one over there. So you know what I mean? So
that would be. But I've just been happy with Yelich's performance. He's hit some key hits and provided some leadership. He gets on the bases and he's so fluid. He doesn't look as fast as he is because, you look at these little guys, Frelick and some of those guys, when they're running fast, they look like they're running fast, but Yelich just kind of glides and he's going fast.
Yeah. So, that should be a really good game though today with Ranger Suarez and Freddie Peralta on the mound here going at it. And, I know it's a left-handed pitcher with Suarez over there, and we know, but the Brewer, I think that narrative has kind of died down, right? I mean, last year it was like Brewers stink against left-handed pitching. You don't really hear that too much this year. I think that narrative has kind of died down quite a bit, especially, and a lot of it is because of the play of Bryce Terang.
Yeah. Oh, there's no question about that. And it makes it easy to give Yelich the day off today. But no, Frelick, I think, is good against left-handed pitching. And Churio, Durbin, these other guys are okay. What is the status of Ortiz?
He's been playing.
Has he? But Montecchio is in there, and I haven't been watching him that close.
Yeah, Ortiz played like yesterday and that, so he was activated on the first.
I didn't watch yesterday's game. I was out.
Yeah, he's been playing since the first, when he was first activated on there.
Because Montecchio was a great replacement, offensively and defensively.
Yeah, offensively the numbers were up there. I know defensively there was a couple, but he made a couple great plays defensively. I think defensively Ortiz has just set that bar so high that tough plays we just take it for granted now with Ortiz out there because we just assume Ortiz is going to get the job done. So
yeah, when I was down there that 3-game Mets series, I mean, he was magical in the field. He made some plays that you just stood there with your eyes open and said, he made that play. I mean, he's made us not forget Willie Adames, but it's been a pleasant surprise that he's done as well as he has. And offensively, he's been a grinder here the last month or so after taking a little criticism from his manager.
I will say there is one player on this roster that I'm not quite sure why, and I don't want to be negative. I don't want to necessarily fully pick on. I disagree with the decision to continue to give him playing time and like starts. Anthony Seidler. the third baseman. He got to start again yesterday.
Where's Durbin playing?
Durbin isn't playing when Siegler gets to start. It's a lefty-righty, situation there. But Anthony Siegler, I mean, he's hitting 194. He's got on base with 292. His OPS is just a 502. I mean, I think this is just me. Pat Murphy knows 500 times more than I could ever wish to know a lick about baseball. But if it were just me, I'd rather have Rhys Hoskins back up, Siegler sent back down. You've got the option to go a little Caleb Durbin and Andrew Monasterio at there. Isaac Collins can even play infield, for crying out loud. I don't quite understand all the starts and playing time for Siegler.
I agree with you. I've watched Siegler play a few games, and I thought, this guy just doesn't fit in this lineup. I don't know if he's trying to. Durbin is such a young kid. If he's trying to, and third base is really a hot spot that you got to be on your toes for 9 innings versus maybe playing the outfield. You relax a little bit, but maybe he's just trying to give him a little break, a little rest, so he's fresh for the playoffs. Like you said, Murphy knows a whole lot more baseball than you and I will ever know.
Mm-hmm.
But I'd be surprised if Siegler is on a playoff roster.
I figured he'd be sent down by now, but he's still on there. Maybe that is when Rhys Hoskins does get called up. Maybe that's the move there. I don't.
How close is Hoskins?
He's ready. It seems like I know Pat Murphy the other day. Kind of, his deadline is the 9th. Like that's when his rehab has to end, is the 9th, which is coming up here in a couple days. But when it was September 1st and Rhys Hoskins wasn't a part of the call-ups, Pat Murphy was asked about it, and Pat Murphy pretty much said that, we got a lot of first basemen and DHs right now, and we're going to take our time with it and all that. But I think by that deadline, Hoskins is going to be up. It'd be stupid not to, especially when you get to the postseason to have that bad. Right. So,
but I hope he's not hurting the confidence of Durbin, because Durbin has been a difference maker. He's had big hits. He gets hit by pitches. He's contributed a lot during this run. Mm-hmm. Not only the winning streak, but since they've started such a great streak after the All-Star break.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Durbin's been a big part of it.
Yep. And I kind of feel like it should be a little bit like last year with Terang. If you do the whole righty-lefty, Murphy gave Terang the opportunity. He's like, all right, I'm going to keep you in the lineup. Prove to me that you can hit left-handed pitching and that. Let's do the same with Durbin. At
Durbin
times.
can hit right-handed pitching.
Yeah, and that's like, just I'd rather have him there, especially defensively too.
Yeah, I've questioned the same thing about Siegler, but they've been going so well. I thought, well, he's in there for a reason. I haven't thought much about it, but I agree with you. I question if somebody's going to leave that roster, he should be the first one to go down.
Mm-hmm. I know it was like the Euchre game, and Durbin was supposed to come. Durbin was having a good day. He had a couple hits, including a home run that day, and he got pitch hit for in the 9th just to play the matchup role, and I didn't like that. I don't think anybody liked that move at that point.
No, I don't like the matchup rule in some of those situations. Durbin reminds me as a kind of a Pete Rose type player. Whether you're ahead 10-0 or you're behind 10-0, this guy is still going to give it his all. He's going to slide into bases. He's going to take a pitch in the chops if it's going to help the team, and he gets on base that way. He reminds me of that kind of a player, and those are the kind of guys that can change a game.
Mm-hmm.
And he's proven he has changed some games. Mm-hmm. I like him on the field.
Yep. I do too. So I would say he's definitely been a nice surprise. Everybody's been a nice surprise, I feel like, on this roster this year, but he's definitely been, I think, one of those two, because let's face it, we were like, oh, he doesn't have a lot of power. We need a power third baseman. But he's helped this team win in different ways too. And he has displayed some power too at times.
So, absolutely. Yeah. What is Bryce Terang's fielding average this year? Last year, we know he won not only the Gold Glove, but the Platinum Glove or the Bronze, whatever it was. But I've watched a couple of games where he's made a couple lackadaisical errors, which he never made that I saw last year. Now, I don't know if I just happened to see a couple of games where he's made some errors where those are plays he should have made. I don't know what his fielding average is this year, if he's as good as he was last year, but to be recognized as the best fielder in the league last year, that's quite an accomplishment for a young player that really didn't have a lot of notoriety.
Mm-mm.
So I don't know what he's at this year, or if he's, fallen down a little bit, not so you'd change any games, but I've seen him make some errors, more than one or two, that I was surprised he made this year.
Let me see if I can find it up here. I've got like 500 windows opened up, so it might take me a little bit.
Yeah.
So.
But I just wondered, because his offense has made him an all league player, and plus his defensive reputation, and he's still just a great second baseman. He's got to be on the all league team without a doubt, I would think.
So his fielding percentage, that's putouts plus assists divided by putouts plus assists plus errors. I mean, that's kind of what we look at. Last year he was a 989. So like perfect is the 1.00. He's 987. So we're talking 002.
Maybe.
But again, I think it's one of those where it's like platinum glove winner, we expect probably 1.000.
Yeah.
So we pay attention a little bit more when he does have but you're right. I've noticed a couple miscues over there too, but dude, that guy has such an arm on him. There was a couple plays just recently where I don't know how he did the turnaround, going behind second to backhand it, turn around and throw it without a bounce on some of those throws. It's like a perfect strike. If you'd ever played baseball, you probably still did it in the backyard to try to do the Derek Jeter throw, and it's hard to do, and that guy can throw a strike doing it. It's unreal.
Yeah, that's why, unreal. Like you mentioned earlier, how much is he going to sign for? Because he's not just a one-way player. He plays offense and defense.
And I go back to last year. I remember Craig Counsell. It was like one of the first matchups between Brewers and Cubs, and obviously Craig Counsell getting asked questions about Brewers and Pat Murphy and that, and he made a comment about the impact that Pat Murphy has on like younger players, and he specifically mentioned Bryce Terang last year, and you just wonder, because you look at Bryce Terang's rookie year, which was Craig Counsell's final year in Milwaukee, and you look at the last 2 years of Bryce Terang, do we point to Pat Murphy as maybe being a big influence, maybe the biggest influence in Bryce Terang's career so far?
Be interesting how much Pat Murphy has made to him, what he's taught him, or just attitude change, or an attitude
confidence
upgrade,
in him.
Confidence, you bet, all those things. But Pat Murphy looks like the kind of guy, when you watch him on TV, you can see him more than you can in the stadium. But he doesn't look like he ever gets frustrated with his guys. That's why the Ortiz situation a little earlier, he didn't do it really in public. He did it behind the scenes, but we know he did it. Sat him down and said, "Hey man, you got to get it together here offensively." And I don't think he hit him over the head with a baseball bat psychologically, so to speak. I think he just seems to have a way about him that these guys will dig down and find it for him. And he's proven that he's in the right spot right now.
Yep.
As a manager, the leader.
I agree too. I agree. And hey, you know what? I'll throw this out there. Played the same position, but at the same time, his emergence, he started to get better, was when Ricky Weeks came aboard too. How maybe Ricky Weeks has a nice impact with Bryce Terang?
Very possible. And you bring up a good point, because Ricky Weeks was a good second baseman. Offensively, he lacked a little bit, but defensively, the way I remember it, he was a very good second baseman.
Yeah, he had some power to him too. When he played, it was kind of like he's maybe not at that time wasn't the most typical leadoff hitter because he had a little power. I think we were still probably stuck in the table setter mode there, but it was an all-star second baseman. Very highly touted. I think he was like a top draft pick, or in that. So
I think he was the Brewers' number one pick.
So maybe there's a little bit of influence from Ricky.
Very possible.
So All right, let's take a break, and Jake Bolks is going to be joining us, so we'll catch up with him coming up after these quick words.
If you're 55 or older and into that whole saving money thing, T-Mobile has an exclusive phone and internet bundle just for you. Right now, get 2 unlimited phone lines plus 5G home internet for just $30 each per month with autopay, plus taxes and fees. And with 5G home internet, setup is easy with just 1 cord and no technician needed, which is great if you're also into that whole keeping it simple thing. Switch now and experience the best mobile network in the U.S. Visit your local store to start saving. T-Mobile, it's better over here. Based on analysis by Ookla of speed test intelligence data Q4 2024 to Q1 2025, Ookla trademarks used under license. Unlimited on our network. Customers on voice plan may notice speeds lower than other customers and further reduction if using more than 50 gigs a month due to data prioritization. Video streams and SD on this plan. Home internet pricing after $20 a monthly bill credit plus $5 per line without autopay. Debit or bank account required. See 5G device coverage and access details at tmobile.com.
I'm still going for it, even with higher stroke risk from atrial fibrillation, an irregular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. Over a 3-year study, Eliquis apixaban tablets reduced stroke risk better than warfarin, and over 97% of Eliquis patients did not experience a stroke. A first stroke occurred in 2.9% of warfarin patients versus 2.3% of Eliquis patients.
Don't stop prescription Eliquis without asking your doctor. Stroke risk may increase. Eliquis can cause serious and potentially fatal bleeding. Don't take if you have an artificial heart valve, abnormal bleeding, or antiphospholipid syndrome. While taking, you may bruise more easily or bleed longer. A spinal injection increases blood clot risk, which may cause paralysis. Get medical help right away for unexpected bleeding or bruising, or back pain, tingling, numbness, muscle weakness, or incontinence. Aspirin products, NSAIDs, SSRIs, SNRIs, and blood thinners increase bleeding risk. Tell your doctor about planned medical or dental procedures. Learn more at Eliquis.com or call 1-855-ELIQUIS.
If you're looking for a great spot to relax, grab a bite, and enjoy good company, you've got to check out the VFW Post 305 in Eau Claire. It's the kind of place where the food is tasty, the drinks are cold, and the atmosphere feels like home. Whether it's their famous fish fry, a burger night, or meeting up with friends after work, VFW Post 305 is where neighbors gather and good times happen. So swing by, pull up a chair, and see why locals keep coming back. Check out the VFW Post 305 today, located at 1300 Star Avenue in Eau Claire.
DraftKings presents a message on responsible gaming.
If you're gonna play the game, boy, you gotta learn to play it right.
Whatever your wager, sometimes
You got to know when to hold 'em,
there are no locks or sure things. So
know when to fold 'em,
and if you feel like you're ready for a break,
know when to walk away.
remember, it's more fun when it's for fun.
When the dealing's done.
Well said, man. Well said. At DraftKings, we believe it's more fun when it's for fun, and we want it to stay that way. We provide customers with helpful tools so they can set budgets, limits, and cool-off periods, and we encourage all customers to use these tools. So play responsibly. DraftKings, the crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort, Kansas, 21 plus. Agent eligibility varies by jurisdiction.
With Progressive, it's easy to reach customer service with our app, website, chat, or by phone. Because when getting help is hard, it's not help at all.
Little help. A little help over here.
Thank you for calling Bench Press Assistance.
What?
Due to excessive gym volume, all available spotters are currently lifting heavy weights off the chests of other bench pressers.
Seriously?
Please continue to hold, and we will remove the barbell from your chest in the order in which your cry for help was received.
Getting assistance should be easy. With Progressive, it is. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Parents of sports-loving kids, listen up. The Kid Cave is your all-access pass to fun, facts, and legends of the sports world. Watch on YouTube and listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Weather right now may feel like it's definitely hunting season, and well, we do have some hunting seasons going on right now, so it's a good time to catch up with our buddy, Mr. Jake Boakes, Conservation Warden for the great state of Wisconsin. Jake, this weather, this cooler temperatures this morning has got to make you feel like it's really hunting season right now, right, bud?
Oh yeah, it's feeling like hunting season. It's feeling like fall. I thought maybe it would just be like a little bit, but I mean, it's kind of sticking around a little bit.
Mm-hmm. I like it. I'm not gonna lie. I like wearing a little hoodie and early on in the mornings, and
right.
Put a little bit of the defrost on the windows to drive in.
I know. I've been dropping my kid off at school with flip flops on. I think I'm gonna probably have to start putting some actual shoes on at some point here.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So, all right. So let's jump right into it here. So we got teal season going on, right? I mean, can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah. So teal season, first 9 days of September. Early goose season's always going on as well. That's through the 15th. And then there are some other birds, snipe and dove and stuff like that. But teal and goose demand most of the hunters at this beginning of September. Most wardens were out Monday morning bright and early with the hunters, sitting out there and patrolling and watching, making sure only teal were shot. And it was a slow start to the season. I'm sure there's people that had success, but at least in this area with that Monday morning fog, it was pretty spooky out on the water. Just real hard to see. Not a ton of birds, not a ton of teal flying, and if they were, it was pretty hard to identify right away. So not a ton of birds shot right away, but there's plenty of them around if you want to get out still.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. Have you seen a lot of success from some hunters and such right now, or it's still kind of early to tell?
Seen a lot more geese so far.
Okay.
So I still think, it's still too early to get the Canada ducks moving, stuff like that. So you're seeing a lot of local birds, and the bird numbers are good according to, a bunch of the statistics, but just different factors sometimes make it harder to be successful when you're actually out on the landscape.
Mm-hmm. Also too we're going to get back to hunting here for a second, but I think it kind of caught me off by surprise until you mentioned it too. Sturgeon is starting up here too.
Yeah, the sturgeon season, the legal sturgeon season starts September 6th, so that'd be Saturday, and that runs to the end of the month. The water bodies that participate in that are basically the Chippewa River from way up north, up Russ County, or maybe even further north, and then all the way down to the river. And if you do go fishing for sturgeon, you have to wait until midnight on Saturday or midnight Friday, however you want to describe it. You can't fish Friday night. You can start Saturday morning at midnight. You have to have a fishing license to fish, catch, and release. You don't have to have a tag with you if you're just going to catch and release. But if you plan on trying to keep a 60-inch fish, which is the legal fish you can keep, you have to have your hard copy sturgeon tag with you. And once you land your fish and take possession of it, you have to rip the bottom of that paper tag off, kind of like how we had to do for deer for a few years, about a decade ago. And you got to have that tag with you and have your license before you catch your fish. You can't catch your fish and then go buy your tag or print your tag. You got to have it with you down by the dam or down on the river when you're fishing.
Gotcha. So this is different than obviously the spearing one season and such, right? I mean, that's completely different.
So this is the cat or the hook and line season, and it's mostly here on the western side of the state, but there's some other spots. Obviously, like you said, the spearing season starts in February, and that's only on Lake Winnebago and the upriver lakes like Poygan and stuff like that. Over on the east side of the state. So, the season starts on the 6th, on Saturday. I know a lot of people are out fishing before the season, but I guess I'll just put a plug in there to remind people that you can't legally target sturgeon on a season. They're a protected species. They're, a somewhat endangered species globally. It's a crime to fish for them, and it seems like more and more I'm seeing it on fishing forums or Facebook pages, or even when I'm checking people, that they're clearly fishing for sturgeon, and either I'm having to write them crimes or tickets, or they play the, I'm just catfishing. So, and that's kind of frustrating as a game warden. It's not a very ethical or sportsman person to know that you're intentionally violating, but you're just doing it under the guise of I'm fishing for a different species, even though we all know what your intent is. So just a reminder, follow the rules, stick within the guidelines. And if you are going to keep a fish, which I hope people do because there's plenty of them and it's fun, just make sure it's 60 inches. So bring a pretty long tape measure.
What's a sturgeon taste like?
It's like caviar, right?
It depends on how you cook it.
But I was serious. I was going to ask you, you mentioned if you're going to go down there and hunt and fish for sturgeon, make sure you've got your license before you do that. I mean, isn't that common sense as a warden, you have to be completely frustrated when somebody's down there obviously fishing sturgeon and they don't have a license. It's like a bow hunter not having a license, or a deer gun hunter or bird hunter. If you're going out there with a gun or a fishing pole or fishing equipment, you're obviously going after something. You better have a license to do it. How much do you run into people that, I don't know, try and talk their way out of something, or like you said, I'm not fishing sturgeon, I'm going for catfish. How much do you run into that?
I run into it more than you would hope,
really?
Unfortunately, and I see it obviously because it's my job, right? My job is to go out and check as many people as I can and make contact and do compliance checks and so I do see it more than probably more than most people would see a random person doing it or talk to someone at home or at the bar or something. But like I said, it is what it is. To me, it's just more of like the respect about the species, respect for the law, and the respect for like the game warden who's just trying to do their job when it's kind of that, I know what you're doing, but you found a loophole type of thing. So it's a little frustrating on that, and I'll hold people accountable when I need to on that. But to your point, a lot of people, are doing the right thing, and I do check a lot of people without hunting licenses, and generally it's just a simple accident where they thought they bought it with their stuff in the spring and they forgot and never went back and checked. So it's a really good question because it's a good kind of like, I guess, reminder that with the duck season starting, with deer starting next week, that you should really go onto your Go Wild account or stop in at the DNR Service Center and check to make sure you have everything. Because even if you check and you're like, oh, I got it all, I mean, that took you 10 minutes and it saved you from being in violation. So it happens, and we work through that. We have the common sense, we have the discretion, but it's always a good reminder to double check what you have before you're out in the woods or on the water.
My time in the woods and doing that stuff is not as much, obviously, as it used to be. But do we still have the sportsman's license in Wisconsin where, more than one species, you can fish and hunt and this, that, and the other thing?
Yep.
And is it is it all on our electronic devices now, or do we get a paper? Can we get a paper copy that we can carry with us? Like us old timers, might take more time to find it on our device than it would to pull out a piece of paper.
Yeah. Well, the good thing is the new system caters to the young electronic folk and the old paper copy folk. So our system, a really good question. So our system allows for both. So you could go down and just for anyone listening, Eau Claire DNR Service Center has been under reconstruction for a year. So sorry for the jankiness of it right now, but you can go down to the service center, Fleet Farm, Shields, Ace, and you can buy your license, have someone physically do it for you, and they'll print off the paper copy and hand you that hard copy or as many copies of you want of it. And then you can have as many as you want and bring them with wherever you go. If you're more of the electronic style, then, I'm sitting at my counter right now before I get patrol in here, and I could buy everything I needed right here, download it to my phone, take screenshots, and be totally legal and compliant for the same thing, for the same season that the paper copy would. So you really have multiple options, and
so in other
really
words, there's no excuse.
There's no excuse, Bob. You're totally right, but we have common sense and we use discretion that if accidents happen, we really, what we're looking for is a little bit of accountability. If you go hunting opening weekend and Monday morning, you're like, oh no, I didn't have a hunting license. Call us. We'll help you get a license. We'll work through it. And it's going to probably be 99.9% of verbal warning. Like, hey, thanks for calling. Thanks for being a good sportsman, a good sportswoman, and just get your license and good luck this season. That's usually the gravity of the situation right there.
So with all that, we got bow season starting up next week, Jake.
Yeah.
What are some of maybe the biggest issues or violations or maybe just basic reminders that you would throw out there for people before they head out in the woods next week?
Well, Bob set that up perfect because the biggest thing, especially at the beginning of the season, is just not having those licenses. So get out there, get them online, go to the store. I was at Shields yesterday, and it's a lot less busy during the middle of the week than it is on the weekend. So if you want to go in person, I'd encourage you to go to during the middle of the week. But then otherwise, not so much of the wardens, but this is a lot of messaging I've been seeing go out this year is as tree stand safety. So a lot of people just leave their tree stands up from year to year to year, and you don't see it for 9 months. So get out there before the season, check your tree stand. You don't want to walk in at 5 a.m. and get up there and that thing's hanging or cracked, or after an hour sitting it falls, and you're injured. So definitely do your tree stand safety, get your licenses. And then otherwise, it's the classic, just, take the 5 minutes with a cup of coffee or 5 minutes later in the evening with a light beer and read the regulations and just see what's new. We have the deer management units in the forest zone. So if you want to get bonus antlerless tags, there's a couple new zones you want to make sure you know where you're hunting and where your tag is valid. and just make sure. Clark County went back to no baiting this year. So if you hunted Clark County last year, you could bait 2 gallons. This year you can't. There's nowhere around here. You got to go way far north or way far east for the last few counties that allow bait. So those are a couple of the new things this year that you'd see in the regulations. So take a little time and just check that before you go, especially if you got kids or young ones. We see a lot of parents or grandparents that get themselves in jam, and they feel absolutely horrible when they realize that their kid or their grandkid shot a buck or a doe or their first deer and they didn't have a license or they did it illegally, and then we have to be involved, and we don't want to be a part of those conversations either. So if you make sure you're all in compliance, you got everything good before you go out, you're going to be in a good spot.
Why has Clark County taken away the opportunity to bait? Fewer animals?
CWD.
Is that a county
Yeah,
or is that a state rule?
CWD.
There was a chronic wasting. There was a positive CWD sample within 10 miles of the county.
Okay.
And the way that the CWD rules work is there's like a clock, like a 3-year or 2-year clock on the counties that they can reset if no positives are found in that time frame. But then every time one is found, it resets it. So Clark County's kind of been doing this back and forth, because Eau Claire County, they keep finding it here.
What's the status quickly here of a wolf hunt?
Same. We just have to wait for the federal government to move on that, and I haven't heard anything new on any of that, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
So as of now, no wolf hunt this fall.
No. And we kind of touched
as
on
of
that
now,
last
no.
week,
Yeah, we hit that a little bit, but always new listeners, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we hit it a little bit, and until the federal government makes moves, we can't make moves. But there's a season and a registration process and licenses all ready to go. So if it does pop, we're ready to be like, all right, let's do it in 2 weeks. We have a process for it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, good stuff, Jake. Hey, we appreciate it,
Yeah.
buddy. Catch up with you next week before everybody hits the woods for a little bow hunting and such. So are you going to try to get out next week, or are you going to be busy working probably, I got to imagine?
I am going to be busy.
Yeah.
Got a lot of work going up. I'll get out and patrol. I'll wait till it gets a little bit cooler to get out in the woods. But I'm also going to hit the boundary waters up one more time later this fall. So I'm kind of getting ready for that. I maybe go try to catch a big walleye up in northern Minnesota one more time.
How does really quick before I let you go here, how does bow opener compare to, I don't think anything compares to the deer gun opener, but like how does it compare maybe to like the fishing opener? I mean, is it incredibly busy for you guys, or do people kind of wait a little bit yet, maybe closer to October?
I would say that it's the busiest weekend for deer hunting until like mid-October or late October around Halloween.
Okay.
And that's because it's the first weekend. Anyone that's had food plots or been tracking deer or patterning deer, they got it. And it's the first weekend and you're excited and you want to get out there and sit and out it. So there'll be a lot of people out and about, but depending on how the weather goes and depending on how successful they were that first weekend and if they think that can last, a lot of people usually get out that first weekend and then kind of do some fall activities and come back to it a couple weeks later. So it'll be fairly busy. So we'll all be out and about. We like it. I mean, we're game wardens. Most game wardens at heart are fishing game wardens and want to be out and talk, not only, patrolling, protecting the resources, but we enjoy talking with the hunters and fishermen and seeing what's going on and being a part of the community. And sometimes we definitely live vicariously through you guys. So it's kind of fun to get out.
Yeah.
Who's going to win the NFC North?
You don't need to ask a Vikings fan that. You don't need to ask that.
Well, I'll tell you what. If it all depends on our quarterback. If McCarthy wants to be a professional athlete and run it, we have all the pieces. But I don't know how that's going to go. It's a 3-way run right now.
Mm-hmm.
Bears can go sit on a bench somewhere else. But Lions, Vikings, and Packers, there's a lot of potential. So I'm excited for the season.
It's going to be a stressful season because it's just going to be that close, I think, too. So yeah.
It will. Someone will probably stand out, but who knows? Last year was Detroit, but they kind of floundered in the backstretch there. We'll see.
Yeah. Hey, dude, appreciate the time as always, buddy. Be safe out there, and we'll catch up with you soon, okay?
Yeah, no, always appreciate you having me on, guys.
You got
Have
it.
a good week.
You too. There you go. Jake Boakes joining us here this morning. We got to take a really quick break here, and we'll wrap it up with some picks. We got baseball, and we've got NFL. Game 1 of the NFL season begins tonight. We'll be back after these quick words. All right, let's jump right into it for our picks because we only got a few minutes left here this morning. Let's start off with the baseball schedule here before we pick our first pro football game of the season. Just a handful of baseball games here today. We've got the Dodgers taking on the Pirates of Pittsburgh. Blake Snell versus Paul Skeens on the mound.
I'll take Pittsburgh with Skeens on the mound because the Dodgers haven't hit worth a lick.
I'm gonna go Dodgers regardless tonight. Pittsburgh doesn't hit worth a lick either. So,
but they got better pitching than.
So I'm gonna go Dodgers tonight. Let's go Cleveland taking on Tampa Bay.
Cleveland.
I'll go Tampa Bay for this one. Let's do Angels versus the Royals.
Taking the Royals.
I'm gonna go Royals too. White Sox taking on Minnesota.
Minnesota.
They've
done better after the trade deadline than I thought. Minnesota fans pretty much had given up on them because they let so many guys go, but players, to their credit, have bounced back.
Yankees and Astros.
I'll take the Astros because I just want to see a collapse in New York. Aaron Boone gone. When those teams spend that much money, it's hard to root for them.
I'll go Yankees just because I'm copping out on that pick. Philadelphia and Milwaukee. Suarez versus Peralta. Does Peralta get his 17th win on the season?
I hope he pitches long enough to get it. I'm picking Milwaukee. It should be a good game, but these Brewers they're tough.
I'm going to go Brewers too, but I'm kind of like you. I don't know if Peralta will get the decision. I think Brewers win, but I don't know if Peralta will get credited with the win.
I wonder if they have the roof open or closed today.
I don't know. I'm not sure.
It's going to be right around 60.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they'll open it or close. That'll make a difference because the ball won't fly as far today as it will with the roof closed.
Mm-hmm. Let's do, got the Cowboys taking on the Philadelphia Eagles. Who are you rolling with today?
You even have to ask?
It's not close. It's Philly.
I can't imagine. What's the spread on this game?
Let me bring it up right here.
I mean, I can't imagine that spread is single digits. Can't imagine it.
8.5, which is still fairly decent, but still, yeah, 8.5.
I just don't see how they can do it. I don't see how they can stay within 2 touchdowns.
I would go Philadelphia by double digits.
Yeah,
me
I'd
personally.
Take Philadelphia and give Dallas the points.
Yeah, so it's Philly.
Yeah, because I think Dak Prescott is probably the most overpaid player in the NFL. I don't see any chance that he's ever going to win a championship. I mean, now their team is not all that good around him, but I don't think he can be the difference maker in a tight race.
Essentially, like carry the team on his shoulders, right?
No, can't do it.
Yeah. So, what's your Super Bowl picks? I'm saving mine for tomorrow.
Oh boy, it's hard right now. I'm hoping it's the Packers. I don't think it will be the Packers. I'm going till somebody beats Detroit. I'm taking Detroit and Buffalo. I don't think Detroit is any weaker than they were last year. And I'm hoping the Packers can prove to be a lot stronger than they were last year. But until they do, I can't pick them.
I feel like the AFC, everybody's picking between these three: Buffalo, Baltimore, or Kansas City.
I think Denver's a sleeper. Because like I said earlier, I think Bo Nix is going to step up under Sean Payton this year.
NFC,
he was good last year.
NFC, I feel like is mixture of Eagles, Lions, Packers, maybe a couple more thrown in there. So I guess maybe a little bit more open-ish. I've seen some people going with the Rams.
49ers, I've heard some people pick. I don't see how that can work.
I don't know. I know Robert Saleh's over there back with the defense, but they lost some dudes this offseason too. So I don't know. I'd still.
They still got George Kittle and a couple other weapons.
McCaffrey, if he's healthy, it's a difference. But
he is.
Even Stafford.
But he's getting some whiskers on his chin that are turning gray too, McCaffrey.
If Stafford can't stay healthy, that's a huge drop off for the Rams. I like Devontae with Puka paired up over there. Their defense surprised a lot of people last year too. So
And I don't know who their backup quarterback is.
Jimmy G.
Oh, Garoppolo.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But he's proven he's only adequate.
Yeah, we know how that worked out with Devontae with the Raiders, so I'm sure Devontae isn't really hoping that happens.
No, I mean, if Matthew Stafford can stay healthy, Devontae Adams could move back up in the rankings to being one of the top 2 or 3 receivers in the league.
Mm-hmm.
And with Puka and Nicole over there, they've got potentially some I don't know what they've got for a tight end, but I don't know that they need a tight end with those 2 guys on the outside.
Yeah, so it's kind of weird to say that it officially begins tonight, but football season is here.
Well,
so
I'm feeling like it temperature-wise.
I like this weather though, so I like it.
Yeah, no mosquitoes, no gnats.
Which is very nice when you're over coaching at Carson Park and that too. So, and speaking of which, don't forget tonight, 6 p.m. kickoff. Blue Gold's taking on Carroll College to begin their season. So that's tonight's kickoff, 6 p.m. DP Danitz are up next. Have a fantastic rest of your Thursday. Back at it tomorrow morning, same place, same time, 6 a.m. We'll talk to you all then.